All ancestral markers point to Native Americans as the ancestors of all humans. To follow the ancestral markers would be by far the most scientific and direct approach to find our ancestors, and to eventually rewrite human history, especially since they come to the same above conclusion unanimously. We all know very well that consensus supports out of Africa at all costs. Out of Africa and migration through the Beringia Land Bridge were hypothesized, and became consensus over 100 years ago, when DNA and ancestral markers were not discovered yet. As part of this support and to convince the public, consensus constructed improbable haplogroup trees. We of Origin for Existence claim that consensus's construction of artifacts and practice of procedures, that today no longer would be considered scientifically correct, but that are held in place by consensus until today, despite their proven improbability. As a kind of an exercise, we will be going backwards in the by consensus constructed haplogroup trees, this from Native Americans and YHPQ to its and all others supposed ancestor YHP. Since haplogroups are hypothesized and recognized by consensus itself, we note to our surprise that, instead of individual haplogroups, blocks of haplogroups of the by consensus constructed haplogroup trees are used. Even more to our surprise, the Y-DNA haplogroup H, that is typical for India, will take part, but then kind of thrown out in the by consensus constructed run up to Q. Such improbable throwing out of a haplogroup is unexpected, especially in the case the thrown out group is considered marker of a key region like India, as in this particular case. Obviously, this raises a paradigm, especially for this part of the by consensus constructed haplogroup trees. Y-DNA haplogroup H is often referred to as the Indian marker, and primarily found in South Asia. It's a major paternal lineage in the Indian subcontinent, and it includes India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh, Pakistan, and the Maldives. While rare outside of South Asia, it is found in low frequencies in some populations of South Central Asia and the eastern Iranian plateau. Even more to our surprise, just before the dropout of Y-DNA haplogroup H, also the Y-DNA haplogroup G, that is typical for Iran, at first will take part, but then also gets kind of thrown out in the by consensus hypothesized run up to Q. G was typical for Iran and the Fertile Crescent, and part of the also by consensus supposed cradle of humanity. The next surprise in the consensus construction is that a block called F was constructed. Proven American roots like Y-DNA Q, C and R, and also mtDNA L and X, are unscientifically and purposely dislocated from the Americas, this way also negating key regions like Oceania and Asia, dislocating it all to the Middle East, and forcing all in favor of the by consensus hypothesized out of Africa. For starters, the root of YHPQ is firmly located in South America, and recognized to be so by the most recent and most complete scientific research. Also, the root of MTHPL was firmly in the Americas, this before it was carried by all Neanderthals, and migrated less than 200,000 years ago, this also to the west coast of Central Africa. The next not scientific move in the consensus construction is the linking of YHPC to the artifact F, possibly in order to distract from the paradigm caused by CS proven roots in the Americas, as well as its proven departing and expansion from the Americas, this early and deep in the very old Austronesian expansions. The fact that YHPC also is very old and much older than the also by consensus hypothesized Beringia Land Bridge hypothesis raises a new essential paradigm for consensus, because how can this very old haplogroup be significantly present and also have its roots in the Americas, if the Americas really would have been the last in the row to be populated? Y-DNA haplogroup A2. A2 is not at all supported by the ancestral markers. A2 cannot even support itself in, or expand out of sub-Saharan Africa. And A2 is not even the root of YHPA. The deep root of YHPA was only found in the Americas, and possibly on its way into Africa, but without succession, thus raising new paradigms for consensus. The San people's YHPA is not ancestral, not sub-Saharan, too recent, and never was able to behave as an ancestor, and consequently was overturned frequently. Further, it also is improbable that the ancestor of all humans would not at all be able to expand and spread to other continents through the well-known historically never obstructed land bridges. We of Origin for Existence would like to remind you that the by consensus recognized deeper haplogroup A00 was not discovered in Africa, but in the Americas instead, exactly as all the ancestral markers point out all along. Recent research, also involving extensive ancient DNA research, proved that much deeper related haplogroups existed amongst Neanderthals, and even Denisovans, and also that the much less deep related haplogroups in Africa are not ancestral and are improbable to have originated in Africa.